What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tackle 22 Fishing. You might notice I've turned some things pink today because we got a special guest here. We got Robert and Jerry from Katmama Industries. I see we got 7 people watching right now. We're gonna give it a minute and let a few people jump in and say what's up. Remember, guys, in the comments, we cannot see your username. Unfortunately, it's showing Facebook user. So please let us know who you are, um, or we'll watch it from another device and figure it out. So, but anyways, what's going on, Jerry and Robert? Man, how you guys doing?
Well, how are you?
Man, it's today has been a struggle. I'll be honest. From the time I woke up this morning, physical therapy, work was a crazy day. I don't recommend anyone working property management, but we got through it, and that's that's important.
I
Throw
Uh,
was on the struggle bus with you. I think I was driving. So,
throw
oh
in
gosh.
throw in a little heat and humidity with that, and it was all perfect.
Yeah, that definitely makes it interesting. I swear, once we start hitting 90 to 95 degrees with 100% humidity, everyone leaves their politeness at the door. It's all about business, or it gets very blunt and somewhat rude sometimes. But if you guys on your end, you should have a comments tab where you can see the comments from both pages as well as the YouTube channel.
I'm
And just wanted to say what's up to Mr. Shannon Book, watching on YouTube, singer songwriter, Navy veteran, and a great friend of mine. If you like country kind of rock, great music all around, definitely go check out Shannon Book music on social media. You won't be disappointed. And check out that new video. Is um so Cat Mama, how long have you guys been Cat Mama Industries?
Well, we actually started with our mission, and we started working on our mission in 2019. We launched the nonprofit in 2022. So the first 2 years, 2.5 years, we did it out of pocket. So 2019 is right. So we started going around and visiting different tournaments, and decided what we wanted to do with that, and that's kind of how we got to where we are today.
what 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 started this was for a long time. For many years, I go fishing, and if I saw kids or on the bank struggling using older gear or homemade gear, I would give them something off the boat. And it got to the extent where it started getting a little expensive, and we went out one Saturday and she saw why I had been doing what I was doing, and she said, we got to find a way to start doing this. And I said, what do you mean? She said, helping people get gear, teaching them to fish, and she said, and promoting some female anglers. And I'm like, what do you mean promoting female anglers? Well, we'd already been going to tournaments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we would go out and look, and you'd see female anglers everywhere, but there's a great disparity in the tournament world with the number of female anglers that were fishing, especially on the catfishing end. And she picked that ball up and ran with it.
I love it. As a nonprofit founder myself, in the veteran community, reaching out to female veterans is extremely difficult for us. In terms of veterans experiencing trauma in the military, if you're looking at, I'd say at least 99% of males in the military, exiting the military and stuff like that, if they experienced trauma while they were in, it's most likely combat related, or some kind of training incident. It's going to be physical trauma, things of that nature. Females in the military or exiting the military most likely experience trauma from some type of sexual assault or sexual harassment type situation, which I'll be honest, I don't know anything about. So, we're really looking to capture some outstanding female veterans, some female fisher women that would like to share a boat, or share a rod and a chair on the bank with some outstanding female veterans, because I feel like they're vastly underrepresented in the veteran community, just because of population statistics in the military and veteran community in general. And that's a shame.
I agree. And what we found is, you see it on a day-to-day basis because you're out there with the veterans. Mental health is greatly improved when you get a boat. When you get that water and you're out there doing something. And for me, it's focusing on something besides myself.
Right.
Because when you fish, it improves my attitude and the way that I have, the way that I go about my daily life. So, he's over here making fun of me. I don't get to fish enough. I'm a workaholic. So,
That's right.
I kind of bring my stress home and spread it around sometimes. But, and I said it a couple of weeks ago, we spent the day fishing and I noticed a vast difference in my overall attitude.
Right.
Just thing. And so it's very important. And I agree with you. I think that getting more women, lady veterans out there, women veterans out there on boats would be phenomenal. And we're here to help you with it.
Awesome. We could use it. But expanding on what you said about, fishing helping your mental health in general, in 2007, just, a master sergeant that I worked for, basically demanded that I go fishing with him, and it completely saved my life. I hadn't been formally diagnosed with PTSD yet. I was circling the drain, not knowing who I was or what I was doing anymore. I was drinking a lot. I was fighting. I was messing up at work. And finally I decided that I had enough and that I was going to leave this earth. And Master Sergeant Tom Carabellis made me go shark fishing with him in Beaufort, South Carolina on the Broad River Bridge. And he caught the biggest shark I've ever seen in my life. And he spoke from experience, and he made me, he saved my life. That's just the long and the short of it.
That's amazing. Well, that's a testimony.
It is for sure. Unfortunately, as Robert would know, when you're in the military, you have just great friends. And unfortunately, when you separate, people go their different ways. Tom retired from the Marine Corps and went his way. And I separated from the Marine Corps, and I wound up going back out to Afghanistan as a civilian contractor. And a couple years after I was done with that, I got the news on Facebook that Tom KB had taken his own life. And carried a lot of guilt, a long time for that, because he was there at my worst moment. And I hadn't spoken to him in years. I certainly never told him that he saved my life. We were Marines, for Christ's sake. So that would have been bad juju back in 2007.
Right.
So just really trying to just pass on what he did for me. It's just a small gesture. He didn't have to. He just, I don't know if he noticed that I was messing up and self-destructing and stuff like that. I hope that that's why. But he could have just wanted somebody to fish with, and he chose me. So I got lucky.
I remember early on for you, Matt and Sam had organized a fishing event that was like a fundraiser for Tackle 22, and I fished that. I think I'm 90% positive I fished that with Justin Fricky, and that day, after meeting you and hanging around some of the people, I've been an over the top Tackle 22 supporter, and I appreciate what you guys do, and that further galvanized me in supporting her.
Right.
Because you mentioned something I always had in the back of my mind, and I never told her. I was in a while before you. I'm an older dude, but I always thought about how, because I've got sisters and two mamas and a mom and a stepmom, and I remember how a lot of the females got treated in the military.
Right.
And I look back on that, and that, like I said, that hardened me towards making her goals successful. And from that day on, when I met you guys there at that particular event, I was sold on supporting her, and did up until the nonprofit end came in when we were spending more money than we were on ourselves.
I remember those days. It's awesome to me to hear, Robert, that you kind of inspired her or pushed her to start the nonprofit organization. It is exactly the opposite for me. We moved to this area. I wanted to start making friends, fishing friends, and learn local waters. When we moved out here to the Chattahoochee Valley, and it wound up just being a bunch of service members, a bunch of retirees and stuff. I started just posting up in local fishing groups. Hey, I'm going fishing tomorrow morning. I'm leaving at such and such ramp at such and such time. I got an open seat. Anyone's welcome to join. And I wasn't prepared for the impact that it was going to have on me. Just I'd been around veterans before we moved out here, but just not at this capacity. And the conversations we had were, I mean, they were life altering. And I was robbing Peter to pay Paul to keep going fishing every day. COVID hit and the military basically got almost a year off of work. They were at home. So I was fishing almost every day that I could. And I loved it so much. And, but it did not love our finances, much to my wife's disapproval. But there were times that our water got shut off, our power got turned off because I was doing as many vet trips as I could do. I was exhausted. And one day my wife Brandy just said, "Well, why don't you do something with it? You're having such a good time. Why don't you start something? Why don't you look at a nonprofit organization?" Because it had never occurred to me to do that. And as you guys well know, it's difficult in the COVID and post COVID space to raise money for a nonprofit organization.
Right.
Absolutely. And thank goodness your wife encouraged you to go ahead with that, because you have impacted a vast amount of people. And it's not just where you are, it's across the country. So, what you're doing has merit. It means something. And it's touched us. We've had several of your guys here at our house. They've been here in our home and spent the evening with us. And Anthony stayed here several times. And Steve Fortson's been here. And,
I love Steve to death.
when these guys come in and they talk about what you do, you can see it in their eyes. They're passionate, but that comes from being around you. You're passionate. So it started somewhere, and you're the reason that started. And we thank you for that, because it means a lot to us.
It means the absolute world to me to hear any of those guys talk about me as any kind of inspiration is just it's foreign to me. Like I can't grasp it because people like Steve Fortson and Anthony Brown, Robert Harvey, the people on our board. I was so fortunate to find great people who believed in what we were doing. To do the right things for the right reasons for the right people at the right time, and that's all we've ever wanted to do. And we are successful because our volunteers make us successful. My time of running around, running the country and doing it all myself has passed. And now it's all about our volunteers. I push all the credit to them. They volunteer their time, their money, their boats, their space, to get out there and go fishing. And you know, there's nothing greater than the heart of a volunteer.
I agree
I love
100%.
it. But I love what you guys do. Like Robert was talking before about how women are just underrepresented in the fishing community in general, especially the tournament scene. Um, I really love to see people pushing that further. And there was a King Cat tournament recently that had an all female team win or take second, right?
No,
They did.
yeah,
They-
Pam and Sandra
Pam and Sandra took a second, I believe,
and Big Fish.
and Big
That's
Fish.
awesome. I did see that post on Facebook. I follow Pam on social media, so I loved it. I love cheering them on.
And it's not just like Pam just jumped out there and went and bought a boat and went fishing. She's been digging at this thing. She took an old, whatever, I think it was a Starcraft, and this thing and she pulled it all over the country, even coming down here to fish, and we were like, oh my goodness, she's pulling that boat on that trailer. So a bunch of the catfish community went together and kind of upgraded the trailer for her, and she's worked through that and learned the processes and learned how to tournament fish, and now has her a tournament grade boat, and she's showing that her practice and determination that she's built over a few year process here, that she's giving them hell, man, and that's great.
I love it.
Her daughter, so she's teaching her daughter to fish, and we started talking about bringing women along. When you bring the mamas and the grandmothers and the sisters along, you're going to bring the kids along. I know
Yes.
a lot of dads take their kids fishing, but if mom's fishing, the kids are probably going fishing.
That's right.
The way that we grew up, with parents who fished, and we grew up with whole family members that fished, and I would spend weekends, our cats wanting to come join your live feed. We would spend whole weekends on that.
We can get you a box. We'll get you a box, Kitty. No problem.
So we'd spend the whole weekend fishing with our families, and that was family time. We'd go, might be 20 or 30 people, and that's kind of how we envisioned this. We were going to bring everybody along.
And in the beginning, she talked to. We fished a bunch of different trails, and not telling people what we were doing or why we were there. We would just show up. And then she would present these ideas. Hey, I want to do this, this, and this to help increase female participation. And once we find some female anglers that are truly dedicated, we would like to promote them to where they can get sponsors and push them out there for guys to give them or companies to give them rod deals or things like that to help them along and develop. And she was met with so many bridges and so many no's and so many that'll never flies and that you're wasting your money. And 30 or 40 grand later, I was thinking, well, maybe we're right. Maybe we are, or they're right. Maybe we are wasting our money at trying to accomplish this. And then we talked to Chris and Corey Ramsey, which at the time had the Bama Blues Trail.
Right.
And told them, said, hey, we want to recognize lady anglers and for big fish and participation. And we'll put the money up for trophies. And Chris and Corey they nodded their heads and said, yeah, let's do it. And, I blame them and give them credit at the same time, because she was at the point of maybe trying something different other than the fishing world until Chris and Corey said, yeah. And what Katmama is today, all the way up to the recent Teach Them to Fish event that had 300 kids there and gave them all gear and fed them and their parents and a bunch of other people that were just walking around. If it hadn't been for Chris and Corey back then saying, yeah, let's give it a try, none of this would have happened at all.
Yeah, I've been through those days too. You're spending money hand over fist trying to grow it, and there's been quite a few times where my resolve has been tested, and just wondering, am I really doing the right thing? Because there's a lot of veteran nonprofits out there, and now the veteran fishing piece is getting bigger. There's other great organizations out there, Patriot Catfishing, Vets with Nets, the Fallen Outdoors. There's a lot of other organizations out there that are doing great things. And I used to be a volunteer with TFO for a couple of years, and I was usually on the top of their trip list for the state of Georgia every year that I participated. And to compete against larger organizations like TFO, TFO is nationwide. They hunt, they fish, they have thousands of volunteers, and they do thousands of trips every year, and that's wonderful. They do great things. But to be stacked up against that when you're sitting at your house going, well, I took a vet out this week, really getting there.
That God opens doors that no man can close.
That's right.
So you took a vet out, which means you sowed a seed into somebody's life. And that's, to me, is a gift that it's priceless. That is a
Well, it's not entirely selfless. My some people might put a veteran nonprofit founder on a pedestal when it comes to post traumatic stress and stuff like that. Like we got it all figured out, and I'm here to tell everyone watching, I have my bad days. I have my funk, and if it was not for the Tackle 22 family and several people that are watching this live right now, including Dale Dunaway, Justin Tomlinson, people like Alyssa Bell, my boss. If it wasn't for outstanding people like that and just surrounding myself with great people, Tackle 22 just wouldn't be what it is.
Thank goodness. It's always good to have that support system. We sit back and we watch you guys from a distance, and it's kind of amazing when you start watching people come, and I call it come back to life.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
it is.
You see the light come back on in their eyes, they're coming back to life. And we come from families who, my stepdad was 25 years in the military. Robert's dad was in the military. Robert was in the military. We come from those families where you've seen people where the light went off, and it's just, until you see it and experience it, you probably don't understand it. And for the people who are out here listening or watching that are not really part of the veteran community or around it, they don't know. I mean, they have no idea, and it's so important. It is so important what you guys are doing. And for Robert and I actually have a couple ideas to throw around with you later.
Let's do it.
How we can partner with you, because we've got a couple of things we'd like to help you guys do.
I haven't even heard it yet, and I'm in.
Well, hey, it's just about Katmama and what we're building over here, but it's not. You touched on, there's so many other organizations out there. We have to grow our community, and the youth and the lady anglers are how we're going to do that. And they are our future. And every time we get out there and we were teaching a kid how to fish, we had some amazing kids show up at this kids event, and some of them had no clue what they were doing when they got there. They'd never had a rod and reel in their hand, and we got to watch that. I remember the first time I went fishing.
We've got both people that have already contacted us about getting boats and learning how to drive the boats, because they are now going fishing, and we've got people that we've talked to that are getting bigger boats because they say they're never going to miss another trip without taking their family.
Right.
And boy, you talk about making you feel good. That's wonderful. I had a man come to us that's been awful generous and a supporter and wonderful. He said, I need you to just start helping in Alabama more. And when I was like, well, what do you want us to do? And he started telling me what, and I said, well, we already do that, but we don't advertise all of it. So I gave him a list of what we did. He said, well, why are you helping all these other states? I said, well, if we don't help folks in Arkansas and Missouri and Ohio and California and Washington organize these children's events or start recognizing the female performances in those states, then we're just battling in the breeze, because you're not creating a true change,
Absolutely.
And as you said, it takes a lot of volunteers. We've Willie Cutchin down in Florida has made an amazing contribution, as an understatement. Tanya and Sterling Tatro out in Arkansas.
I love Sterling. I follow his fishing, and he's usually almost anything we do, whether it's here on Facebook or on TikTok. Sterling's never far behind.
We are going to Arkansas for their event next year. So they do this. They do what we did in Arkansas every single year. We'd love to have you go with us.
Yeah.
When is it?
I think it's in April.
Yeah, I don't think they've set the date completely yet.
They usually do it around the time of the Sea Arc tournament. It won't. I don't think they're going to do it on the week of the Sea Arc this time, but it's right around that time. And we missed it this past year because of Sea Arc, but we're going next year.
I'm in. Let's go.
He said he was in. He's in.
I'm in. Let's go.
All right. Well,
Uh, we had a children's event on Lake Greenwood. We had some of our Tackle 22 volunteers put together kind of a fruit jar type tournament, take a veteran fishing event, and they got, I believe it was 80 something children were
Okay.
out there fishing from the bank, and they all went home with something. So, we love, absolutely love to support that stuff and to support other organizations in general. One thing I always tell my volunteers, especially my board members, when we were getting started, is that we are about community over competition. We will never compete for a dollar with another organization. If they put on an event, I hope there's 10 Tackle 22 volunteers ready to go help out. Me and my partner do it a lot here locally with other organizations. We just had one this last weekend. I really just enjoy getting out there and being a advocate for change. I don't care whose name is on the ticket. If it benefits somebody, I want to be there.
there you go.
So we started when we started the Teach Them to Fish event, and the 800 rod combo challenge came up. We wanted to give as many away at our event as we could, and what we said is for 2023, before this is over, the rod and reel combos that are left and the tackle boxes that are left are going to other states to help organizations who do what we do and to Christmas for Kids. So we're going to go back to zero. You
Right.
know, that's our whole goal, is to go back to zero and then start all over again.
Mhm.
You know, because it has to go. You have to put it out there in order to continue to grow. And we've already sent equipment to 2 other states, and the third state's fixing to go out. We're planning our event to help Brian and Kim Stryker in Ohio. They're going to do one there. This thing is going to grow, and I know it. And that's the biggest thing for me, is knowing that it's going to continue to grow, and there are going to be people all over the U.S. doing exactly what we're doing. And you said it. It's community. It's not.
Right.
And I don't care if I got to work an extra 50 hours next week to get it in there. We're going to make it happen. And that's our philosophy, you know.
If
You
I think if I told my boss I was going to work 50 hours any week, she would probably faint.
Well,
her, man. She'll work 100 if she can. But what happens, like you've seen with Tackle 22, when you start developing a true community of people, it's amazing the number of volunteers that'll come forward. Like, yeah, Lisa and Terry Haraway here with the North Alabama Catfish Trail. Lisa has built such a family around this thing
Right.
that, like with our recent event, when we asked who can help us, can anybody help us, it was like they were wrestling to see who got to do what. Oh, and then
Yeah. I wish I could have been there. But unfortunately I had to drive to Wisconsin for a death in my family. But I was following along, and it looked like such a good time.
it was fun, and it introduced us to a lot of people we had only met through the internet and talking, and we made some what I feel lifelong connections.
we'll have to next year come. We had 7 adults who stayed here in the house with us, so we just made it a whole.
I mean, we had people sleeping on the couch, and then Anthony shows up, and we got Anthony and his puppy dog in the house, and 7 adults, and boy, we made it work though. It was great.
That's awesome.
You'll have
I
to stay, and Anthony can sleep on one couch and you can sleep on the other.
Listen, I'm all about it. I am always looking for more excuses to get on the Tennessee River. We're starting to have some success on it now, not just fun fishing, but we're doing pretty well in tournaments out there here recently. But I will tell you this, for anyone who's watching who has aspirations of catching big fish on the Tennessee River and you've never been on it, it can humble you.
It most definitely
It
can.
it took me and my partner probably a good 2 years of fishing the Tennessee River before we really started catching quality fish consistently. And there were times we were both out there like, why are we doing this? It costs so much for us to travel 4 hours, spend 3 days, boat gas, fuel, bait, everything else, and we were doing just terrible. And you know, there's times we're like, why are we even here? You know, so we finally come up with a plan trying to psych ourselves out that, you know, we're fun fishing with a chance to win some money.
And then after you think you've got it whipped, you know, Wheeler, you know, I've been on this thing 55 years off and on, and it'll still send me on spurts where it'll send me home without a single bite, and it makes me so mad, you know.
Mad for days.
Yeah, it's there's many times out there. And I will tell you this also is that from about late May till probably halfway through July, you're gonna catch me on the Tennessee River at night.
Why you don't like mayflies?
I cannot stand the mayfly. We have them here too, just not nearly as bad as they are on Wilson especially. But I don't know if you guys saw Justin Freaky's video recently where he had them all over her boat. Oh God, I felt like I could smell that video.
Me too. I was gagging. I told her, "Oh, I can't do it. Oh, I can't do it."
Oh, so Cody says it's not that bad. Listen, I do not have your resolve, I guess, when it comes to mayflies, because the first one of them runs into me, I'm ready to pack it up and go home.
Yeah, I can't do it either.
Well, we've got Shoal Creek just to the east of us, and then Wilson Lake's literally, you know, a block behind us, and all the lights at night when the mayflies decide they've haunted the fishermen enough, they come get around these lights, and it's horrible. You'll clean up 45 gallons of them with the shop vacuum morning. It's pitiful.
Oh, I'm surprised the Fort Benning MWR hasn't banned me from their car washes yet. So to find a good, you know, the old school pressure washer car washes, I have to go on base. And let me tell you, I've vacuumed probably 20, 30 pounds of mayflies out of the dynasty. And I don't know how they haven't found me yet and charged me with something or whipped me or what. But yeah, they get pretty bad. But we've been live here for about 32 minutes. We're gonna take a 55-second break and let you guys watch this outstanding advertisement from Apex Predator Outfitters. So guys, be sure you check out apexpredatoroutfitters.com. We do have a Tackle 22 shirt on there. So anytime one of those shirts are purchased, Tackle 22 Fishing does get a cut of the purchase and it helps us further our mission. Furthermore, if you use promo code Tackle 22, no spaces at checkout on anything on the Apex Predator Outfitters website, we also get a donation. So help us out, support a great man, Jeff Frazier. He is a retired first sergeant and really breaking big into the industry, supporting organizations, supporting tournament trails, just being a heck of a supportive guy. And he catches a catfisher too. I've heard. I haven't seen any yet, but I've heard.
Oh my goodness.
I almost felt like a gauntlet had been thrown down.
He actually lives in Florida, so he fishes like Seminole, Apalachicola, you know, that area a lot. And he does a lot of flathead fishing. He'll tell you right now he's not a cat fisherman, he's a flathead fisherman. And he's good at what he does. But Dale just dropped a comment. I know this is going to say Facebook user on your side, but Dale's Tackle is also partnered up with Apex Predator Outfitters, and they are releasing a Blood Series hook shirt. And we're getting a piece of the proceeds of that too. Thanks, Dale. and Jeff for making that happen for us and believing in what we do, guys and girls. If you haven't seen this shirt design yet, it looks sharp.
It's awesome.
I've been waiting so long for some kind of Blood Series apparel, because that, if anybody knows me, that's the only hook I'm using. Unless my partner slides one of them Dale's Tackle J hooks in there every once in a while, but really enjoy the Blood Series hooks.
Wow. We'll have to get us a shirt when we get off here.
Definitely.
That Blood Series hook's what led to Katmama's relationship with Dale's. He had put together a package for a veterans big fish at an event somewhere that I happened to win. I think it was one of the North Alabama Catfish Trail events, but I hadn't used those hooks. And I said, well, I'm going to give them a try. And within a week, I had switched everything, every tackle box. And then she ended up becoming a stocking dealer for him, because I believe in the quality of the hook so much. Fantastic product.
I tell you, anybody who takes the time to individually buff and polish the burrs off of every single hook that comes through his shop, I'm in.
Me too.
Somebody out there don't volunteer to pay for his therapy. He needs to keep doing that. His ADD needs to stay where.
And if you go to his website, order more sinkers. Dale loves to pour sinkers.
Trouble when we get off here. He's gonna be calling you first, and then us next.
Oh, he's already. He said, "Bro," in the chat, or that was Jeff Sales. Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna get an angry text message here soon. But yeah, Dale was actually the very first sponsor of Tackle 22. I've been a customer for a while. My biggest thing with hooks, and if there's any beginner catfisherman or anything watching, one thing that was really important to me with a hook was being able to put my thumb on the shank and run it all the way down to the bend. It can touch the tip, but so long as my thumb can go all the way down, because I figured that was about the width of a jaw plate on a catfish. So that was very important to me when it came to that. So I was a customer, and through some other people that I fished with, we made some introductions, and it's all been downhill from there. I love Dale Dunaway more than most people, and thanks, Dale, if you're still watching.
Well, that's like I say, it sold me, and then sold her. We were getting ready for the Sea Arc event, and I think she broke her PB 3 times in a 2-week period. And a young man we were fishing with, he was using another hook. And I mean, you lose a fish from now and again. We were in horribly stormy waters, 3 and 4 foot swells, and he missed 5 fish that day, and she didn't miss one. And she said, "Don't you ever put anything on my line again except one of them bad hooks."
I love it. So, you said you guys got started in 2019. Did you guys kind of start on the retail end? Because I know you guys are a source for, if you guys, everyone watching, I got the ticker set up. So, Katmama Industries is probably one of the best places to go for Ancient Mariner reels, B-Cat planer boards, reel them up dragon weights, and caveman clips. So did you guys kind of start working towards the retail side of things before the nonprofit, or like which one came first?
The nonprofit, once the nonprofit came, we said we need. I have a hard time asking people for their money, their hard to earn money, without giving them something.
Right.
But we started doing T-shirts and jerseys and I mean, at one point in time, we had, we sold 2,000 of one particular shirt design, and we're in here for 24 hours packing all this stuff up when it came in, and hats. And then Ancient Mariner, I had been testing a couple of designs for him. Spyron had contacted me out of the blue, said, "Hey, beat these things to death, see what you can do." And we built a relationship, and we built a relationship with TF rods, and like you said, B-Cat boards, and now starting with Dale's. and starting with River Shine line, fishing line. We've been testing Steve's fishing line for half a year, and it's fabulous. It hadn't hit the market yet, but it's going to hit the market. So most of these things that we sell, we were a test bed for,
Right.
just to try to beat the devil out of it to see how it lived. And some of it didn't live, and we don't sell it. And but the things that we sell, all the profit goes back towards kids and ladies and helping the fishing community in general.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that you guys test the products before you sell them. I love that. Because being, we have a merch store and stuff as well. But if we ever expanded into, a reseller, wholesaler, retail side of things with just fishing gear, I don't want to sell things that I don't believe in.
Right.
Exactly.
Because I've been a customer with only, a very limited budget on what to purchase, so I want to purchase from trusted sources, get great gear that's not going to fail me when I need it.
We were fortunate when we first started, and Spyron jumped on board with us. He's actually the first person who I think really believed in what we were doing. And from day one, when we said we are going to make this a nonprofit and we're going to move forward, he said, "I'm there."
Whatever you need. The only answer he ever gave us when we asked for something or a design change or a new idea, the only answer he ever gave us is whatever you need.
That's awesome. It's great to get with just wonderful people who believe in your mission like that. It was a little bit tougher for us to kind of get off the ground. We got fortunate on social media, mainly on TikTok, posting funny things and getting people to follow us that way and be like, hey, let me tell you about Tackle 22 Fishing and what we actually do here. And we were fortunate enough to get a bit of a following and, just great people, supporters. There's a wonderful lady by the name of Pat Dunn, who's in the comments right now talking to another one of our supporters. And she's like our team mom. We've never met her in person. No one from the organization has ever shook hands or gave Miss Pat a hug. And I hope to be the first one to do it. But she's in Ohio. And she doesn't miss. We have a Discord server and we meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays. She doesn't miss a meeting. She doesn't miss a live stream. She is always there. She beats up our volunteers about making Amazon wish lists for their fishing trips so she can buy them Gatorade and sunscreen and stuff like that. I mean, I love Miss Pat to death. We sent her a huge metal trophy last year for being our most outstanding supporter and just being there. My wife said I'm gonna have to get past her for the first hug.
Brian and Kim live in Ohio, Strikers, so we can make a road trip to Ohio to meet Miss Pat.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm all about it. Miss Pat, you heard that? We're coming to Ohio.
You're gonna get to meet a whole bunch of people because we're gonna bring the family. So
let's go. We'll bring the trailer. I'll tow the boat. Like we'll find somewhere.
There you go. I'm excited about that. That's awesome. You're talking about people jumping in and helping you. Brian and Kim Striker's another one. Every time we've gone to them and said we want to do this, they've just said, "Okay, what do you need from us?"
Right.
Those are the people that you look for to grow into your, and they become family, and that's what these people are to us. They're family because they believe in the mission as much as we do. And that sounds like you've got Miss Pat over there, and she definitely believes in your mission as much as you.
Phenomenal. For sure. We are lucky to have Miss Pat. I love, we get a lot of supporters who give disclaimers. I wish I could do more, or I wish I could do this or something like that, and to just, I thank you for just being there. You know what I mean? You don't have to give $1. You don't have to give $100. You don't have to do anything. Just be there for support, because you never know, a kind word to make 100 times more difference than $100 will any day.
A kind word or one share. You hit a share button for a group one time, that may mean everything.
Absolutely.
She put out a wish list with the organization Casting for Casey that we're going to support, or we're trying to get gift cards for, and we are supporting. She wanted X amount of gift cards by a certain time so we can send them and help them out. And someone off of that live feed hit share. And a man contacted her. He said, I don't even know how I saw this or why it got shared to my page. I'm sending you $500 in gift cards.
That is amazing.
And yeah, that off that one share. So
it's incredible.
So a person may say, well, I'm sorry, I can't help. Well, you can share. And if you share, there's no telling where it may go. You know?
All right, guys, you heard the man. Better click that share button. You never know who you might reach, who makes all the difference.
Well, you're exactly right, but it's just the fact that you have a mission and you're doing what you're doing. So when they share it, they're planting a seed for somebody else that may be struggling and going through something, and they
Absolutely.
can you guys and say, hey, I'd like to go fishing. And, you know, it makes a difference. And so 2 weeks ago, when we put up Casting for Casey and we wanted to raise $1,000 for their events in September, we met that goal
already.
So we're going to get to send them the gift cards, and it didn't come from us. And, you know, that's the great thing. I get to say it came from the Katmama family. And
right.
To me, that's so much better than saying it came from me, because I get to see the heart of the people who are sending it to us. And, you know, when we did our event, there were people who gave at this event, and I knew they didn't have the best financial situation, but it meant so much to them to be able to put a rod and reel combo in the hands of a child that there's no way that I would have ever stood in the way of that blessing. And, you know, there were people who could afford to have outfitted the whole thing and didn't. And, you know, that's the way life works. And so when I see these people who step up and help, and I get to go back to these organizations and say, this came from the Katmama family, to me, that's the greatest gift I could ever receive myself.
Absolutely.
Getting to
and there's a lot of great people out there in the catfish industry who do a lot of things that just don't get a lot of publicity, you know, especially when it comes to kids. I remember last year at MRM, and I'm horrendous with names. My memory is shot, so please don't haze me too bad. But there was a gentleman there with his son, and they fished the Tennessee River. They were just getting started, and you know, it was me, Chad Bryant, his partner. You know, we were just all kind of standing around. I believe Dale Dunaway was there with us. And, you know, we were just talking with them and trying to give them some tips for the Tennessee River. And they got to talking about equipment and things they have, things they don't have. And it just started like a train. We were standing right next to the Tackle Bandit booth, or the Tackle Bandit trailer. And it was like one at a time. We just started walking in there and picking up something to give to his son. And by the time he left MRM, he was ready to go fishing. So, you know, things like that, just, it makes my heart happy. I don't know if it really ever made it out on social media, but just to know that things like that happen, even where you don't see it, you know, a change is being made. And I would encourage anyone out there, you don't have to go buy somebody a fishing rod or a fishing reel. Just, you know, and if you can inspire someone to just keep going, and that, you know, things will fall into place, you know, a little confidence goes a long way.
Absolutely. One step one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. You know, we say that all the time. We have a young gentleman who lives in Nebraska, and he messages Robert and I every day, and we've never met this guy. You know, he sends us a message, and he actually says we're like his parents. And so now we check, how you doing? How you doing today? How's your
Right.
going? And I realized that he encourages us as much as we encourage him. And
Right.
It's pretty amazing because of catfishing. You know,
Yep.
that's how we come into contact with these people, is because of the catfishing community. So when I go out and I tell all these people, you know, this is a family. because we are a family. Even the family that doesn't get along, or, you know,
Listen, personalities clash every now and then. I can personally attest that I'm not the easiest person to get along with. So sometimes some personalities clash, but reconciliation is out there when you can both put your pride aside and realize you're both on the same team.
that's
Uh,
exactly
so,
probably.
but I want to talk a little bit about the Cat Mama team. You guys, when you guys are at a tournament or at an event or something like that, it's not just Robert and Jerry. Like there is a crew. They got a NASCAR pit crew that rolls around with them and sets up everything and empties the trailer and stuff like that. So let's talk a little bit about your team and who they are and how much they help you guys out.
Oh my goodness. If we started with number one, there's so many people who've jumped in to help us. And Robert's better at just getting all the names out there than I am.
But look, we'll have people show up at places that'll have Cat Mama shirts or Cat Mama hat on and start helping that we've never met in person.
I love it.
We had a carload of people last year. 6 people drove 200 miles just to come help us set up at one event. When this was before we got the trailer, so she was digging stuff out of the car and a SUV all at the same time. And these people showed up and they were introducing themselves and, well, hey, are y'all fishing today? No, we came to help y'all set up.
And buy shirts. They bought shirts. They bought $200 worth of shirts.
That was at Stevenson, Alabama,
for an NACT event.
And there's a long list. Just to give an example, like David Riles he came over to help with this children's event. Well, he's already built such a good relationship with kids that we're getting one little young man named Jack. We're going to take him fishing, and David's talking to these people now from all the way over there in Georgia, and he's coming back here and fishing, and we may have had some interaction a little bit here and there, on Facebook, but once we met in person, it was just like we had always known him. And Shane Phillips and you go down the North Alabama Catfish Trail list of anybody that's ever fished it, they're like family, and they showed up. And all these guys from the Coosa River trail over there, I mean, they show up this last time at this kids event, just poof, hey, we're going to be there. They come and show up for 2 days, and it's not like we have a roll call. It's okay, who's coming, who's that? It's just poof. And Richard Vinson, you ever say we're going to be somewhere, he'll be there before you get there waiting on you.
Right.
It's absolutely amazing.
Richard's always around, man, whether he's at Terry's shop or helping Lisa with the trail or helping you guys. Like I feel like I run into him everywhere.
Well, we can roll up, at 5 o'clock in the morning. We beat Lisa there. I'm a morning person, so I get early, and we'll roll up, and Richard will be there, and he'll unload before I got the trailer, he would unload my vehicle and set my tables up and have everything go, and then do the same thing when it was over. But whoever's there, Jason Clark has helped me. Richard's helped me. Lisa helps me get my stuff together. Brian and Kim have come down from Ohio to help me get set up and work an event.
And you're talking about people driving from Florida and Missouri and Arkansas just to come hang out, and it's just an amazing feeling, man. It gets me choked.
We had eight states represented for volunteers at this last event. To teach them to fish event. So 8 states where people came and stayed for days to help. Sterling and Tanya came from Arkansas, and they were here from Thursday to Sunday, and they both worked regular jobs, got off work and drove. Willie drove from Florida. He got off work and didn't even go home and sleep, drove straight here to help us. And then you had Brian and Kim come down, and Anthony came in, and Anthony came in on 2 wheels.
Listen, his truck and boat only have one speed, and it's all the way down. So he's whipping that thing around, or he's got it trimmed out as far as it'll go. I support that.
And said, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. So he got here, I think, around 11 o'clock, something like that, crazy, just in time to let it up and go back and start the event. But I have never in my life had, you can just say it, I need help. I
Right.
need to do this. And it's like the floodgates open. And I truly believe it is because the people see the need to encourage children to get out on the water because they are a future. Anyway,
Absolutely.
that's how this sport continues to thrive and our community grows is because we get those children on the water.
You know, and Lisa will tell you when we first met her, she was like, "I don't know who are these people," and she didn't know anything about us, and which Corey and Chris told her, said, build a relationship with these guys, they're all right. So she took down her natural defenses, and she's been with us from the beginning. And one of the most amazing relationships that I've built is with Doc Lang. He's become a great friend, but we've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls over the past couple of years where people say, "Well, if Doc Lang is saying you're all right, people, what can we do to help?"
Right.
And it's amazing.
His grandson came to help us with that event, and he's a teenager, so he wanted to come, jumped in the car with his granddad, came down here, worked the event, and then Doc turned around and took him back home. To me, that was amazing because I've been a teenager. It's been a long time ago, but to go help kids. Yeah, I saw that look to help kids learn how to fish. That just wouldn't have been at the top of my list,
Absolutely.
like 14 to 16-year-old range.
I knew her when she was a teenager. That definitely wouldn't have been at the top of her list.
No,
Oh, wow.
we actually been dating when I was 14, so he can say that was not at the top of my list. I was yeah, no, I was
It wouldn't have been on mine either. I was a troubled teen. So I needed the Marine Corps a lot more than it needed me by the time I finally shipped off. But Robert, you didn't have to bleed for the live, man. I always joke that it's not a fishing trip, and we're not allowed to catch fish until either me and my partner have bled some way on the boat.
It's Dale's fault because guess what cut that hole this morning? At 12 blood, man, it stuck me this morning and just happened to bust back open now.
He's
That's
dangerous.
awesome.
He's just
So fishing for me, and I find for most people, is usually tied to one person. It's for me, it was one person, and most people I speak to, either got it from a father, a grandfather, a uncle, mother, sister. It's usually someone very specific who brings them into fishing, or maybe they fished before, but someone else really guided their passion for it. And that person for me, like I told you before, is Tom Carambellis. We called him KB. But I was really curious for both of you guys, who's your fishing person?
well,
You know,
Robert, I get to see a light turn on in his eyes when he fishes. So when you see it and you experience it, I wanted to be part of that. So we would go out, and you're going to laugh, but we go out bait fishing, and that would be our date night, and I would watch him when he would go. And I've fished when I was little, but I would first go out on the boat and I would read, while he fished. I would let him do his thing. He'd be out there just fishing away, having a good time, and I would watch his face, and the enjoyment on his face set it off for me. It was like, okay, so I did this when I was little, but it's been a long time. I'm going to do this because he is having so much fun. And that's during COVID. I worked from home for a year, and I would take my computer and I would work from the boat. And I would actually be sitting there working the whole time, watching him light up while he was out there fishing. And I wanted so much to be a part of that it just became our thing. We spent a year doing nothing but fishing.
right.
For me, my inspiration is my dad, Bob Gilchrist. I remember being in diapers when he came back from Vietnam. I was already a year and a half old, and I didn't accept him immediately, right? So it took me. I was probably 3 before I really warmed up to him, but by the time I was 4, I can remember being on creek banks and fishing with him. Obviously, I was a handful. I mean, I'd be over there where they'd burnt some big tire, and I blonde hair and the kid running around. Man, they always call me droopy drawers because I was always be so dirty and so wet, pants hanging off of me, and all you could see was blonde hair and eyes because I had tar all over me. And then as I was growing up, he'd tell me stories about him fishing with Uncle Cullum and Homer Dodd we fished all the way up to the day before I went in the military, and after I got out, we still fish together now. And we're both, once we die, we're going to have our ashes scattered in the river because that's been our most wonderful moments that we've ever had in our lives.
That's amazing. My father grew up around Chicago, so they weren't doing too much fishing out there. I think we've gone. He's fished with me maybe once or twice, bass fishing from the bank at a lake we used to live at. But I hope to get him out on a boat sometime and get him into a big old catfish. Maybe he might get into it a little bit. Me and him used to golf a lot back in the day, but I'm very competitive with myself. I expect to be extremely good at something when I pick it up for the first time, and I'm really disappointed when I'm not. And that was golf for me for a while. I put in my time, put in my practice, but the math just wasn't mathing. So I sold my clubs and bought fishing gear, and that was it. But yeah, Jackie said something. Let me find her comment here. She said, "Without the fishing community, I would have half of the friends and family I have now," and that is very true for me as well. Not much of my blood family actually follows my fishing at all or tackle 22 for whatever reason. But I've made such great friends either in the fishing industry or through tackle 22 and the community that we have, that I'm very thankful for. If I start getting in the weeds, I love that I have people that I can call, to guide me through it, or just, a word of affirmation or a helping hand. Everybody needs one every once in a while. And I'm thankful for everyone who's watching tonight. You're part of this fishing community that we know and love. And without you guys, we wouldn't be what we are. Cat Mama wouldn't be here. Tackle 22 wouldn't be here. All of our amazing sponsor family wouldn't be here. So, you guys influence more change than or you have bigger impacts that just from being there, being fishing, and supporting Cat Mama, supporting us. It makes a huge impact.
Well,
Absolutely.
like I said, in the past, I've sent Jackie shirt designs or things and asked her, well, what do you think about this? And of course, that's how I met them, was through the fishing community, Jackie and Paul. And those two people have biblical type patience. Their patience is about 1,000,000 times longer than mine. They're fantastic people.
They will drive hundreds of miles to show up at an event to help and then turn right around and go back home. To me, that's dedication. That's dedication to helping this community thrive. And we appreciate them so much. And they'll share and jump on and encourage you daily. And you hit the nail right on the head. That's it. That's what we need. And we need to continue to do that for others. So,
Absolutely. Well, when we start making all these trips that Jerry signed us up for, my tournament partner is going to have to come, because he will tell you I am the world's worst road trip partner. Once if it's late at night or we've been up out in the sun all day, first off, I'm going to start falling asleep driving.
uh-oh.
So he'll jump over and he'll start driving just because he knows who I am. But as soon as my behind touches that passenger seat, I'll see you when we get where we're going.
Well, I tell you what. So Robert stepped up this week and bought me a 15-passenger van.
Ooh.
So we drive by, pick you up when we head to Ohio. That'll work. He's over here scratching his head.
So she will sign you up for more stuff than any human could get done, but somehow or another she always pulls it off. So
Listen, I am so ready to be a passenger on that thing. I'll bring a blanket and a pillow. It'll be the best trip I've been on in a long time.
Man, the seats or something. They're so comfortable. I told them, I said, this is the van we're gonna take to the Smoky Mountain Expo. We're just gonna grab everybody and let them jump in one vehicle. It'll be so much easier. And he's just looking at me like, what? And I was like, you bought it. Now we're gonna use it. So
That's
we'll
that's
just
funny. Bill seems to think I sound like the perfect driving companion. I would very much doubt that. Me and my obstructive sleep apnea in the passenger seat while you're trying to listen to music and drive for several hours. I got a lot of love and respect for my partner because it's not quiet.
hey, I could find some Slipknot or something that you would be able to keep time with. Trust me.
Oh, I used to go to sleep with Slipknot and Devil Driver. Like I used to be a pretty big metalhead, and I'd be in Afghanistan with my headphones on, when it's time to rack out, and I'd wake up and my head would hurt so bad from the volume and everything else. So I could probably sleep through it,
well,
but
let Robert drive and we'll ride because I go to sleep too. I usually go to sleep as soon as the car starts moving.
oh gosh, that's me. If I'm in the passenger seat, I can't stay awake in a vehicle if I'm not driving.
I haven't watched a movie in 22 years because soon as the screen goes dark for the movie to start, she falls asleep. So I just give up. You
That's awesome.
He's not
Uh,
kidding. He's not kidding.
I wanted to give a shout out here to Mike Felter. He's a great friend of mine here from North Georgia. We have fished against each other for a couple of years now. I actually met Mike the night he caught the lake record flathead for West Point Lake here in Georgia, which is mine and my partner's home lake, because the one we fished the most is at the time it was the biggest flathead I'd ever seen. I was just getting into catfishing, just learning. I think I caught one fish that night that was maybe 11 pounds. I think it was a 10 or 11 pound flathead. A buddy of mine from the Marine Corps came in and he fished with me, but Mike had this slob of a flathead, and I actually put it on my YouTube channel back when I was a aspiring YouTuber. But guys and girls, if you're on Facebook, give a search for Mike Felter. He's really going through a lot. Look on GoFundMe. He does have a GoFundMe set up. He's been through the ringer health wise, emergency surgery after emergency surgery. If you can drop $1, if you can skip a $8 Starbucks coffee tomorrow or a double quarter pounder with cheese, and drop $5 in there, you'll spend more at the gas station getting a Dr. Pepper and a Snickers bar. So, help him get through what he's going through because he can't work, and help him get back on the water so we can, me and my partner can continue kicking his butt.
We've met Mike's a wonderful, wonderful he came by the Katmama trailer the first time we took it out, and he asked me if my coffee pot was going to be ready for the about 8. Yes, so I'm going to have him a cup of coffee if he just comes and hangs out with me. If he's
Yeah.
up,
So you're looking at August 18th and 19th, Battle of the Lakes, and these two are figuring out how to cook up some hot coffee, knowing it's going to be 104 degrees
Oh
outside.
my gosh. And Mike will have the grill on his boat. Like every long tournament we fish that he's there, he gives me and my partner a rundown of the menu that they're going to be cooking on the boat that day. They're cooking burgers and dogs and all this stuff that just sounds amazing because we've been up since the crack of dawn and we're already hungry because we didn't grab breakfast, and we start running through our menu like, okay, we got combos. I got Uncrustables. I think there's a bag of Doritos somewhere in the rod locker, like, so we might be beating him currently in fishing, but he is definitely beating us and living on the water.
so just know while everybody's out there fishing that tournament, Mike and I are going to be drinking coffee and grilling apparently, and I'm here for it. So
Listen, if Mike could throw a hamburger 50 feet, we'd go find him during a tournament just to go eat with him.
hanging out with me, and I think that's a good thing. We'll have a good time. Me, him, and Lisa,
That's,
Richard will sit there and have a good time.
that's right. Well, we appreciate you, Mike, for being a stand-up guy and somebody we're proud to help and support. So, you laid the groundwork by being who you are. It makes you easy to support and easy to do what we can when you need it. So, and that goes for anybody out there. We're going to start wrapping this up, but when you wake up in the morning, you get to choose the person that you get to be that day. Don't be an asshole. You know, you get to choose who you want to be. If you want to be blessed, if you want to give blessings, I highly encourage you to do what you can for the right reasons at the right time, and people will take notice.
Amen.
So, one last question for you guys, Jerry and Robert. If someone wants to get involved with Katmama Industries, whether it's getting females out fishing or setting up another children's event or something like that, how do they go about getting in contact with you?
They can message us from our page on Messenger, or they can send me an email to catmamaind@gmail.com. They can text us at 256-810-6859. If we don't answer that phone when they message the first time because I'm at work, I will message.
And that cat mama is Katmama. Someone on Facebook somewhere and TikTok set up a Katmamma as a rub off or something. I don't know, but that's not it. Katmamma.
Awesome. If any veterans out there watching who are maybe in the weeds, reach out to Tackle 22 Fishing. If you just need a ear to listen to you or an encouraging word, you can go to tackle22fishing.com. Click on the contact button. It will send our entire board of directors an email. If you want to get involved and volunteer, we have now opened up civilian volunteers for Tackle 22 Fishing. So we'd love to build a relationship with any civilian or veteran out there who aspires to take other veterans fishing with Tackle 22 Fishing. Please reach out to us. And yeah, any sponsors who want to get involved with Cat Mama or Tackle 22 Fishing, we need your help. So, the mission is never over, no matter, once one is checked, we're on to the next one, and it continues. So we could certainly use some support, and we are do our best to support you as well. So, uh, Robert, Jerry, I thank you guys for inviting me on for this live, and thank you for everything that you do and for allowing us to be a part of it. So I'll let you guys kind of give us some parting words and sign us off.
We appreciate everybody that supports you and those that support us. We love you guys. Never let a difference of opinions or a difference of ideas keep all of us from working together to make good things happen. We are all stronger together, no matter what walk of life, thought processes we have. When we all come together, we can accomplish great things.
Absolutely. Small gestures save lives.
Amen.
So with that, guys, we will see you next time, next Wednesday. I believe I have the president and CEO of Peak Safety and Performance that's going to be joining us. It's going to be a new sponsor announcement, and we're going to talk a little bit about what they do and what inspired them to get involved with Tackle 22 Fishing. So, Jerry and Robert, I'll talk to you guys soon. Everybody watching, make sure you smash that share button, interact with it, send us a comment. It definitely helps push us out to more people and helps people like Cat Mama and Tackle 22 reach more folks. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.